Well, hello there, friend. Full disclosure, I have taken inspiration for this video from the amazing Caroline Eason, who does ASMR videos in a southern accent that is much better than this one on her channel. She is amazing, and I've been addicted to her for the past week, so check her out. But I wanted to ask you what you're doing here. You do know where we are, right? Yes. So it's not quite therapy, and it's been a little bit more involved, but a little bit less professional. Does that make sense? Okay, let's talk about it. First of all, why did you come here today? We're having some issues, and see, that area of life is actually best handled by me at this agency, so you've come to the right desk. Yeah. Love is difficult for everybody, I think. Even the people that seem to always find it do have struggles in their own lives. And you gotta remember that. You can't judge yourself too harshly. My experiences with love have been less than satisfactory. Yes. Well, I wasn't quite aware that my last boyfriend was, person of interest for the FBI, and, well, on our first date, I was like, what's that noise in the back of the car? Like, do you have a speaker back there or something? Like, what's going on? And he was like, oh my god, like, literally nothing. Like, don't even worry about it. It's just like some machinery that's going a little pop, 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 like every once in a while. And I was like, okay. So then we got to Cracker Barrel and we had chicken fried steaks, and then came back into his car, he drove me home, and there was no sound in the back. So I was just like, oh, looks like the machine died down. Well, later I realized that he was in fact a serial killer, and that the person in the trunk there was his latest victim. His name was Robert Fredrickson, and I was there when he was doing that until he it's a little bit morbid if you ask me. Anyway, so then I got a little bit spooked and I stopped dating for a while, and then, well, I dated no, that was the last guy I dated. I haven't dated anybody since then, but the guy I dated before, well, he pretended to be a cat lover, and he was actually a dog lover. That was the biggest betrayal I've ever felt in my life. Come here, baby. Come here, baby girl. Anyways, can you tell me a little bit more about what these love troubles look like? And I'm gonna bring up my document, and we're gonna talk about it, okay? All right. Word. I know that some youngins say word when somebody says something they agree with. That wasn't what I was doing. I was just talking about Microsoft Word. It's an app on the Computadora. Alrighty. Do you say word, sweetie? You look a little bit young. Now those from the other generation? Oh, I don't even know anymore, Generations are switching so fast. Like, why is everybody having babies? I don't know. I don't even know. Okay. Let's do this. So, hi there. Could you please offer me your first and last name and your date of birth? Lawson, like son of the law. You got it. I see. Okay. Okay. You are a youngin'. Do you know about the whole AI revolution going on right now? Did you know that you can ask Thank you, sweetie. ChatGPT. You think you can ask ChatGPT pretty much anything in the world? It'll answer you. Did you know that it answers in a voice? It's like kind of like a human now. It's kind of creepy if you ask me. Is it creepy to you? They always have this weird cadence of talking. Like if you're talking to like, and that's right. If you're talking to like the youth pastor at your church that really doesn't want to be impolite, but wants to kind of like say like, oh no, like you don't really know what's going on, and I'm caught up with the times, but you're not. I'm not going to say it like that. I'm just going to like put it in my tone of voice and like bury it a little bit deep in there, so you kind of realize what I'm doing, but you kind of don't. You can't come after me for it. Well, that's what ChatGPT sounds like. Okay. Love troubles, little on me. Okay. Well then. Well, sweetie, we don't really need to figure anything out in the love department for that. That doesn't require love. No. Okay, well, we can talk about that because you're clearly a little bit confused, but that's okay. You're young. Okay. What else? Yep. You're totally right. They really aren't, are they? Nobody's authentic. Are you talking about the online screen, on the gram, on the FB, you know what I'm talking about? Is that what you're talking about? The Snapchat? Well, somebody told me that what happens on Snapchat just disappears right away. And then my daughter, she downloaded it on my phone for me because she wanted me to be, in with the cool kids, I guess. And I thought that everything that happened on Snapchat went away. But then it turned out that 20,000 people screenshotted something. And I got fired from last job. So now I'm here. This is actually a startup agency that I did with my brother. Because I got fired for indecent exposure. And you don't have to ask any follow-up questions. Okay. Yes, social media plays a role. Everybody's too cooped up. Nobody wants to go on a date anymore. I'm so sorry, honey. When was your last date? Your last date was recently, but your last relationship was... We're gonna need a DeLorean for that one. You're too young to get that reference. Well, this is unfortunate, my dear. Do you have your eye on anybody right now? And give me a little bit of information. Okay. Yeah, these are not, don't treat these as like a yes or no, like 20 questions. You give me information, I'll write it down and then I'll help you as much as I can. Hi, kitty cat. Hi, dear. Little baby girl. You so soft. Sorry. I shouldn't be pouring over my cat on the clock. Okay, so this person is in one of your college classes, one of your fancy little college classes. Which college class would that be in college? Oh my god, I've never heard of more college class. So when they talk about this, are they talking about like gender? Or are they talking about like parts? Because I don't really understand what's going on nowadays. Like, you have a part or you don't have a part. Or you have this part or you don't have this part. But then people are like, oh no, like gender's different. But like, I don't get it. What's different? When you talk about like identity. Are you talking about like identity theft, like credit card information and stuff? No, that's different. Is that what you learn about in your college class on gender? Uh-huh. And what have you, or give me a little, what have you learned, sweetie, in your big fancy college class? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, wait, just give me a second. So, you're saying that you learned about the biology behind what was that word used again? Transism, transgenderism, transgenderism, but not a badism, not like a racism or sexism. Okay, a goodism. Okay, got a goodism, and then transgender, and then we put the ism behind the transgender. Okay, so what you're saying is that this is I thought you were just talking about identity. Was you got science behind it? In the so people are who they say they are, and they always have been, even if they have different parts, because of biology. Doesn't biology say that the parts make the person who the person is? Okay, so you're saying for me to imagine that if okay, so I identify as a woman. You're saying that what if I had my brain, never been like this right now, and then aliens took me and just put my brain in a man's body? Would I feel uncomfortable? Yes, I would. I would, sweetie. And that's what it is. And I would feel, and I am a woman. I ain't, because I would still be me. I am a woman. Oh my God. Oh, this is enlightening. Well, you see, my husband, he's been telling me this stuff, like that biologically these people are like not who they say they are. But then I'm like, well, just like, what if they are who they say they are, like what people live, you know? But now I have a new argument for him, because actually biologically these people are, that the transgenderism is actually biological. Yeah. Well, now I can go up to my husband and I can blow his mind with how smart I am, because he always thinks he's better than me because he took one college class from the community college here in town, and he thinks he's so much smarter than me, even though all he took was underwater basket weaving. And I'll say to him, honey, what does underwater basket weaving have anything to do with anything? And he says, it's college. It's college. Shut up. And I say, don't you say shut up to my face. And then, I was referring to him as my husband. Well, then we got divorced, and now I'm just dating around. Well, not really, not since I dated that murderer. Anyways, thanks for giving me, well, maybe I can message him on Facebook Messenger. All these things you're telling me, and then I can say on there. What do you say now? Yeah, okay, so identity and biology and identity. Thank you, dear. Yeah, I never went to college. You see, I was raised in a family that didn't really place much of an importance on education. Importance was, mostly on trying not to get knocked around and stuff like that. You gotta do what you gotta do, especially as a kid. And sometimes, I see vestiges of that stuff in my now self, and I wonder, what would I be like if I wasn't raised that way? And then I get jealous of people who are raised the right way, and I say, why couldn't that have been me? Mom and Daddy, why couldn't you have been nicer to me and my siblings? Yeah, but I was basically the parent for my siblings. Yeah, I called them my brood because they would just all gather around me when Daddy was being scary, and I protected them. Yeah. And then You know, every once in a while, we'd get pulled out of school to learn a lesson or two of our parents and stop learning things like bad things like social studies from our teachers and science, because the climate isn't real. Instead of the climate, we have air. And social studies, the teachers, they don't have an agenda, you know? And my ex-husband used to say that a lot, so sometimes I'm like, he's wrong about a lot of things. Maybe he's wrong about that, but I was raised with it, so I don't know. Maybe they do have an agenda. I still am pretty proud to think that my parents are right about everything, even with all the bad stuff they tended to do. But yeah, so eventually, after all this was going on for a while, in 8th grade, I was taken out of school entirely, and so I have a seven and a half grade education, and I can read just fine. I can write just fine, and I understand what you're saying to me, fancy college kid. And I can do less professional but more involved therapy just fine. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at gabbing. Oh yeah, and you know, just because life took some things away from me doesn't mean I'm just gonna sit down and let it walk all over me. No. And I know you might think, oh, this lady, she doesn't know nothing. She's from this small town. She has a thick accent. She's a hick. She hasn't even been to high school. She didn't even graduate middle school. Well, guess what? You don't know nothing about me. You don't know nothing about how my brain works. I could have an IQ of 3,075 and you wouldn't know. But anyways, back to love. Just know that you're with the right person, honey. You're with somebody who's seen it all. So you're in your gender studies college class with the person you're interested in. And what's this person? Who are they? Because I know I don't want to assume anything. I have been learning and getting learned some, especially from some of my younger friends, especially the people that I counsel here. Well, thank you, honey. Yeah, I'm making a real effort. Okay, so they are 1 year older than you. Well, this is good. This isn't an age gap relationship. Sometimes we get people coming in complaining of a certain affliction called an age gap relationship. It's pretty scientific. Have you heard of it? Requires some very particular and peculiar medication. And we just try to tell the person, like, you know what? There's a power dynamic going on, and you don't need all that in your life, honey. You don't need that. You don't need to be manipulated. And then sometimes these relationships are good, but it's usually when the age gap is not very gappy. But you know, when I see a young woman come in here and she's talking about her life, and then I tell her, what about your romantic life? Just to kind of cover all bases. And she says, well, you see, my boyfriend is 67 years old. I wonder, like, what, sweetie, can we trace the problems back to this origin, please? Can we look inside and see and tell ourselves, maybe we gotta, like, take a second and recall that this person could be your grandpa, and you're dating your grandpa. So what might that have to do with your depression? But I know all you kids are depressed nowadays. I know you guys go to Walgreens once every week. Yeah, always running out of some medication or another. I'm in Walgreens a lot for my heart medication, and I always see the kids over there, the kids about your age. And they're standing in line, and they're on their phones, and they're sitting in the chairs and they're on their phones, or they're shopping around and they're on their phones, and they come over to the pharmacy, or they're in the car and they're on their phones in the drive-through. You know, that drive-through was only for a McDonald's, but it turns out it's for Walgreens too. But I didn't know they sold burgers at Walgreens. Anyways, I'm there a lot and I see the youth there, and sometimes, you know, every once in a while I like to ask, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I see a lot of you. Like, are you okay? And they say, yeah, it's fine. I'm here for my Zoloft. And then I say, Zoloft? That's a funny name for a burger. Maybe it's a soda. Anyways, they're 1 year older than you. What else? Okay. So, they're really, really cute. They got it all going on, like Stacy's mom. Never mind. Okay. So, you want me to tell you what league you're in? Do you think I'm the kind of person who can distinguish leagues? Are you aware that I'm not really, you know, in the college scene? I don't know what y'all look like except for the depressed ones that go into the pharmacy. Well, sweetie, let's just put this aside for a second. I can tell you a couple things. I can tell you one thing. You're gorgeous. You are. You're so pretty. And you deserve to feel beautiful, okay? Because I'm looking right now, when I see beautiful eyes, I see the windows to your soul, and I can see your soul in there. And, you know, there's parts that I don't really want to see, and then there's parts that I really do want to see. And then I wonder if I ever had a child, would my life be different? And then I think, I never had kids. And then I remember my ex-husband who never wanted children, and I went along with him anyway just because I was a little bit smitten. Don't get smitten. That's my one advice. Well, that's my piece of advice to you. We could end this session right now. You could give me my $2 and then you could leave. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, your eyes, they're just pretty. They're sparkling. They got a beautiful color, especially in the light. In the light, they go, it's pretty. Your hair's got the same thing. In the light, it goes dazzle, dazzle, razzle, dazzle. It's so pretty. It's like a rainbow. It's like when you're washing off your car with the hose, and then suddenly you see a rainbow, and it's just such a cute little thing. You never really thought you'd see it, but you did see it. And then you think to yourself, well, God works in mysterious ways. What was I was talking about your appearance, my dear. You're very fashionable. I'm looking at your clothes and I'm thinking, this person has quite the sense of style. This person has quite the sense of style. They've got a jewelry. They've got a top that doesn't have arms. A tube top. Thank you, dear. They got a tube top on. Looking real cute. Looking real sexy. And they got shorts on. It's perfect because it's summertime. It's really hot out right now, so it's perfect. And they got little cute sandals on, and they got a little pedicure going on. It's looking good, dear. You know what? I'd say you're in the league with the best of them. Yeah. You feeling confident? You don't feel confident? Well, there's a salon right next door, and my friend Deirdre owns it. I could maybe get you a discount on some sort of makeover if you want to feel confident. Yeah. Yep, I'll email her right now. Let's go into the email, the Gmail thing. Gmail.com, and then I just press enter. And then let's see, am I in the right accounts? Okay. And then I press compose with the little pen symbol to Deirdre. Why ain't she coming up? Deirdre. Deirdre. Honey, think you can help me with this? I'm trying to type in my friend's name and it's not really coming up here. Can you help me? Yeah, her name is Deirdre. Deirdra. Oh, you found it? Oh, that one was coming up. I don't know why I didn't see that. Okay, Deirdre's subject. Which the subject? Wait, this is kind of fun. This is like when I made, okay, so my niece, the one I'm telling you about that got me Snapchat, I think of her as a daughter sometimes, and then I really wonder what if I had a daughter. Anyways, she brought me into the living room, and I was thinking, am I gonna die today? Because she's a little creepy. She's got like spikes coming out of her nose and out of her lips and stuff. I was like, are you gonna kill me, my dear sweetie? Like, I don't know. I could probably overpower you. I do go to the gym once every 2 months. I'm fairly buff, if I say so myself. But then she sat me down and she turned on this little white box and she said, we're gonna play Wii. We're gonna play Wii, Auntie. And I said, I'm sorry, sweetie. Do you need to go back to English class? Do you need to go back to school? Is working at the Staples maybe atrophying your brain a little bit? That's a fancy word I got from my last client. Atrophy. At first I thought it was atrophy, but I think that's not true at all. It's atrophy. And they said, no, Auntie. It's Wii, W-I-I. And I was like, I'm sorry, what was that? And then we had the best time making little creatures that kind of look like us. But then we started putting like weird hairstyles on them and making them look real weird, and it was real fun. Yeah, I love my niece. What was I talking about? Oh, we're coming up with the subject of the email. We're going to say clients doesn't need a makeover, but wants a makeover. Should I add an exclamation point? All the youngins keep adding so many exclamation points all over the place. And I say, you yelling at me, Aria? Because I can't quite tell, because usually the exclamation point is used for like exclamation, like whoa, or like yeah, or like hey. And I get the yeah one, like yeah, you know? Like, oh yeah, I agree with you for sure. Period, except not period, exclamation point. But my niece says period all the time. But sometimes I'm like, wait a second, there's so many in there, it kind of feels like you're attacking me. And I kind of feel a little bit scared. And I kind of want to crawl into my hole a little bit. And I say to myself, no. You're going to be strong, and you're going to reply with even more exclamation points and make them feel attacked. I'm going to throw hands if you throw hands. Anyways, client wants a makeover. Dear Deirdre, that's kind of funny. I have a client named Delcy Lawson who has been feeling a little less than confident. That's why they're here. Deirdre doesn't really hold with the whole they thing, so we'll see how she reacts, but I've been trying to get her up with the times. Would you be able to give them a makeover for half the price? I will cover the rest of the fee. Thank you! Exclamation point. Alright, let's hand it on over. Perfect. I'll let you know when she replies to me. She always has a pretty busy a list of clients, so she might not get this for just a bit, but she'll get it. She's kind of addicted to her phone, and what I discovered recently is that you can turn on your notifications from the Gmail app, and you can get notifications while you're playing Candy Crush. So I helped her out with that, and now she replies to me much more often than she did before. Anyways, dear, what we're talking about? Oh, we're talking about your league. we're not going to think about that right now. So try to talk to this person that you think is really cute. Okay. And was it awkward? Was it awkward as hell? Yeah, I thought so. You're here after all. It was awkward as hell. I'm sorry, dearest. H-E double hockey sticks, of course. Alright, I'm going to put the computer away because I just need to talk to you for a second. If you like somebody, there are two routes you can take. The first route is that you keep your feelings to yourself and you die alone. You're not surrounded by any family members because your siblings and your parents and your cousins and your nieces and nephews, they all died before you, or they just don't really care about you. Maybe your nieces and nephews will be in the building, but they'll just be on their phones in the waiting room and you'll just kind of pass away and they won't really realize until it's too late. And then they'll say, what is it they'll say? Oh, R.I.P. Rip. 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 You don't want that to be your future. You don't want the last word anyone says about you to be rip. Do ya? Now the other route is that you could tell this person how you feel, and maybe you guys will get together, or at least get to know each other. Maybe you'll get a good friend out of this, and maybe you'll get a pretty angry breakup, and now you'll have an enemy. But life is more interesting with enemies, don't you think? That's what I always say to the youngins at the pharmacy. I'd say, well, would you rather have anxiety or depression? And they look at me and they say, I don't know. But it's not like oh, I don't know, like a mystified. It's like I don't know, like they've thought about it a lot before. I think that's the kind of conversation you guys have with each other. Is that true? Or with your Zoloft and your Prozac, and I don't know. 90% of these are probably placebos, because not only is the climate not real, but medicine ain't real either. Think about the vaccines. But I have to go to the doctor because my brother makes me, and every time I go they say, here's a prescription for some medication, and even though I don't believe in it, I also don't really want to die, so I go anyway. But all these kids, all you kids, are getting placeboed up at the wazoo. That's another word that I learned from one of the fancy college students. Not wazoo, I knew that for a long time. Placebo. If I looked at that word, I'd think it was placebo. And I think I like that way better. It kind of sounds a little bit more fancy, a little bit more French. Placebo. Does that sound French or Spanish to you? Yeah, is that like down across the border or like over across the ocean? Which one do you think? Well, I just don't know. I don't know, sweetie. But what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, your two options. Die alone or just tell the person how you feel. Because it's unlikely that it's going to work out. But the more you tell people how you feel, the more you're going to do it in the future. And eventually it is going to be that person. And I should take my own advice because I've been eyeing the butcher at the Albertsons. And he's a little cutie, and he's got big muscles that kind of go like ropey, like so. Like up here. Looks like he's holding ropes or snakes around him like this. And I'm kind of like, I walk in and I'm like, I'm a little too old to be having these urges, but it looks like I do anyway. Anyhow, what were we talking about, my dear? Oh my God, approaching people. It's an important skill to learn. Have you ever approached anybody, or people only approached you? Okay, yeah, so It's gonna be scary because it's the first time, but I think it's a good thing for you to do. It's a good thing to try regardless. What's the worst that could happen? You get a little bit embarrassed, and then in a couple weeks the semester's over, and you're not gonna go to your gender studies class anymore. Yeah, you'll be done with it unless. Are you majoring in gender? Oh, that's not a major. What are you majoring in? Ooh. And what classes do you take for that other than gender studies? Very cool. Do you read a lot of fantasy and classical stuff and other things and essays and stuff? Good. Do you keep up with your homework? Good. I'm glad, especially in this gender class. You gotta make sure you're all cut up with all your readings, because if the teacher calls on you and you don't know what to say, you're gonna look stupid in front of your crush, and we don't want that. No, that's like the worst thing that could possibly happen, isn't it? That used to happen to me when I was, kindergarten through 7.5 grade. I would sometimes get embarrassed because the teacher would call on me and I didn't do the reading at home because I was too busy taking care of my brood. And they'd say, "Hey, do you know the answer?" And I'd be like, "No, I do not. I am just a child." And that excuse got a little tired once I turned 13, but then I was out of the class anyway, so the teacher didn't have to worry about me. Anyhow, so we've gone through a bit today about how you're gonna be better with maybe taking some initiative in the love department. Okay, well, you owe me $2, and I'm gonna follow up with you in an email later tonight and tell you what you need to do, which is just the same thing I just told you, okay? I know you Gen Zers have low attention spans, but you should listen to this lady, okay? Alright, I'm going to send you over to Deirdre's, and you just tell me that I sent you and to check her email, okay? Alright, yeah, it's just right next door, okay? I loved getting to know you. Thank you for telling me all these new things about gender and biology and all that stuff. I appreciate it, dearest. Come back anytime you like, okay? Alright. Bye.